The Brightin Star 28mm f2.8 is an ultra-slim pancake lens featuring full rangefinder coupling for the Leica M system. In this review, we will rigorously examine its mechanical design, build execution, and defining optical characteristics. I'm Thomas Eisl, professional photographer and visual artist. The market is currently saturated with pancake lenses. All too often, these are inexpensive novelties defined by mediocre optical performance, traits that strictly disqualify them from my professional kit. However, Brightin Star maintains that their 28mm optic is an exception. They claim it is neither cheap nor compromised. A bold assertion that warrants a closer look. So welcome to my review of a lens that, against my initial skepticism, has indeed earned a place in my bag for specific applications. Please note that for those requiring deeper technical analysis, comprehensive test data is available on my website via the link in the description. Now let's begin, as there is much to uncover regarding the Brightin Star 28mm f2.8 for Leica M. According to Brightin Star, the guiding philosophy behind this optic was to engineer the most diminutive form factor possible, without compromising essential imaging performance. The optical formula comprises 6 elements arranged in 5 groups. Notably, this design incorporates 3 high refractive elements and 1 extra low dispersion element, utilizing glass substrates sourced from both Chinese and Japanese foundries. The result is an unconventional optical construction, suggesting a bespoke engineering approach to the constraints of such a compact housing. A close inspection of the front element confirms a critical detail found in the manufacturer's schematics. The perimeter reveals the first high refractive element cemented directly to the front glass. This specific construction choice foreshadows the monochromatic aberrations we observe when utilizing the lens at its maximum aperture. No matter the camera you employ, the lens is remarkably unobtrusive, significantly reducing the volume required in your bag. This diminutive profile is also a distinct advantage in crowded spaces, allowing for a discreet approach. The design language pays clear tribute to the idiosyncratic works of Miyazaki Optical. A defining feature here is the all-brass housing. While this material choice complicates manufacturing, it adds a tactile density and premium feel that modern aluminum lenses often lack. The black lacquer finish is designed to wear over time, revealing the brass underneath to create a unique patina. That said, after exposing approximately 3,000 frames, I have observed no signs of abrasion yet. So unless you are inclined to accelerate the process with a sheet of sandpaper, do not expect that worn look to emerge quickly. Aesthetically, Brightin Star cites the black and gold styling as an homage to Tang Dynasty lacquerware. More importantly for the user, the markings are engraved and filled. This ensures legibility remains intact even if the paint eventually fades. Furthermore, the internal assembly uses standard retaining rings, a design choice that prioritizes longevity, allowing a qualified technician to service the lens in the future. Operationally, the lens demands a period of acclimation. The focus lever is intuitive, but the aperture ring requires a degree of dexterity. Because the ring is narrow and declicked, one cannot select an aperture by feel alone. Visual confirmation is required. The dampening does not always provide sufficient friction to prevent accidental adjustments, and in fast-paced reportage situations, fixing the aperture ring in place with small pieces of tape proved beneficial. Finally, be aware that the mount does not feature 6-bit coding and that the lens has a non-standard 25.5mm filter thread. Fortunately, Brightin Star offers a special ultra-slim UV filter, which is best purchased alongside the lens. The lens employs a unit focusing design, meaning the front optical assembly moves during operation. Consequently, the lens barrel extends slightly at minimum focus distance, and a change in the angle of view is observable as one adjusts focus. Of greater importance to the practitioner, however, is the presence of focus shift. As the lens is stopped down, the focal plane migrates slightly. When relying on a rangefinder camera, particularly at close working distances, this characteristic demands careful attention to ensure your subject remains in critical focus. Regarding important technical parameters, allow me to summarize that the lens provides a horizontal field of view of 65 degrees on a 36 by 24mm sensor, with a calculated maximum magnification of approximately 0.04 times at 70 centimeters. To contextualize the following results, please note that all quantitative tests were conducted using a Panasonic Lumix S5D with a 24 megapixel sensor. Regarding optical definition, the lens achieves a peak MTF50 of approximately 1700 line pairs per picture height in the center of the frame at f5.6. Given the extreme physical constraints of the design, this is a commendable figure. However, it is crucial to understand that this high level of acuity is strictly confined to the central axis. At wider apertures, the general contrast performance remains modest across the whole image frame. Beyond the center, even when stopped down, the image is characterized by a steep decline in definition and its uneven distribution. This falloff is primarily driven by significant monochromatic aberrations and pronounced field curvature. Consequently, peripheral details remain noticeably soft. Therefore, for applications requiring consistent acutance across the frame, such as large format printing, stopping down to at least f5.6 is mandatory. The limitations at the edges are further exacerbated by pronounced astigmatism and coma. These aberrations not only reduce sharpness, but also introduce visible artifacts when rendering high-frequency details. To effectively mitigate these artifacts, one must stop down to f11. Conversely, chromatic aberrations, both longitudinal and lateral, are reasonably well controlled. While measurable, they are not intrusive when viewing standard 36 by 24mm frames at normal magnifications. Structurally, the lens exhibits a complex progressive barrel distortion. Correcting the geometry in post is therefore not a linear process. It requires approximately -4% adjustment in the midframe and nearly -8% at the periphery. In practice, this means a complete correction is impossible without a custom lens profile. Analog photographers who cannot rely on digital rectification should carefully assess whether this lens is suitable for architectural subjects or scenes with prominent horizontal lines. Finally, illumination falloff is significant. At f2.8, vignetting reaches approximately minus 2.4 EV. While stopping down gradually improves uniformity, these gains plateau at f5.6. The fact that vignetting persists beyond this aperture suggests that we are either reaching the limits of the lens's image circle or encountering issues with the steep angle of incidence on the digital sensor. Ultimately, the Brightin Star 28mm f2.8 is best defined as a character lens. It is ideally suited for street photography and similar applications, where absolute optical perfection is secondary to atmosphere, or where aberrations can be mitigated by simply stopping down. Despite its distinct rendering, this is by no means a low-quality optic. Quite the opposite. When judged against the constraints of its diminutive size, its performance is exceptional. Naturally, it is outperformed by larger designs that grant optical engineers more freedom, but that is a calculated trade-off. Overall, the Brightin Star is a high-quality boutique option for the discerning connoisseur who desires a lens scarcely larger than a body cap. Furthermore, it stands as a testament to Chinese craftsmanship and industrial prowess, proving that the ability to manufacture a high-precision instrument at a reasonable cost is a commendable reality. Thank you sincerely for your time and attention. I trust you found this analysis both informative and comprehensive. I would respectfully invite you to consider supporting my work through a channel membership or by making a contribution via the links provided below. Furthermore, should you be contemplating the acquisition of the Brightin Star 28mm f2.8, your utilization of the affiliate links located in the description is greatly appreciated and provides vital support for this channel. Finally, for additional sample imagery and in-depth stories, I invite you to follow my work on Instagram and Facebook, which are also linked below. Until next time, all the best.